Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another What's on Dave's Shelf. And in this video, as you can see, we're going to be taking a look at the Fantasy Age books that are on my shelf. So to get started, I found these two. And well, first off, I want to talk about Fantasy Age, how Fantasy Age, which derives from the Dragon Age RPG by Green Ronin Publishing, Chris Primus and also Jack Norris. They're the brainchilds behind the game. And I really liked what I saw with Dragon Age. It was pretty much, as a dungeon master, it was the first time, meaning Dragon Age, that I ran a game that wasn't Dungeons and Dragons or D20. So I really liked the D6 system. And a couple of years ago at Gen Con, Fantasy Age was announced. Also, Will Wheaton's campaign setting of Titan's Grave was released as well. And I believe it was probably, we're in 2020 now, so I think it was around, 2016 or so when Fantasy Age was released. So I think it was 2016, 2015. If anybody in the comments section can give me a definitive date, that would be good. But I think it's around that time frame. And the first book came out. I mean, it's not a very big book. It's only, 100 and some pages. And, this is everything that you need to play the book. Basically, 145 pages for the basic rule book. And then there was another 100 and some page campaign setting that had a multi-part adventure on Titan's Grave, which I actually did run Titan's Grave back when it first came out. And you can find that playlist in my YouTube channel. And we played that in its entirety. And we had a great time with it. So, but yeah, Fantasy Age. I like the system so much that I have adapted it as the main mechanic for my World of Rakan setting. So I'm in the process now. Once I finish all of my What's on Dave's Shelf series of videos, then I'm really going to start hammering down on cranking out content for my World of Rakan setting. So I'm going to be using the 3D6 system as a base, and then I'm going to be using some other mechanics from other game systems that I like from Pathfinder 2nd Edition, Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition, and Savage Worlds as well. So it's going to be a homebrew rule set, basically, using all of the different licenses, and it's going to be fun, and I'll be able to distribute my World of Rakan content to all of my Patreons, which I'm really excited about doing. So, but anyways, these two books, first off, these are paperbacks. I'm not sure if these are print on demand, this companion, or if this may be a playtest book, because there's really no graphic on the spine or anything like there are the other books. So I think these may be playtest books, but I maybe not the player's guide, because this is just the player's info from the basic rule book. But I found these on eBay. I just happened to have been searching for Fantasy Age because I needed the Dungeon Master screen, and these popped up, and they were sold by a Goodwill store, I think in Seattle. And so these were 99 cents a book with $3.80 something shipping, and then they combined the shipping for me. And so this is how I picked up these books. I mean, I'm not sure. I think this may be a playtest book or print on demand. But yeah. But this is the companion, which is the third book that came out. And these are all hardbacks, by the way, except for these two. But the companion has everything that's in the regular companion. And I like this player's guide because I'll be able to use this around the table and let my players check out all of the classes and talents and stuff. Like I said, it has all the player's guide information that's in the basic book. So the basic rule book, I really like. I like the way how the classes are set up. There's 3 classes in Fantasy Age. There's the mage, the rogue, and the warrior. And then you basically, it goes to level 20, the game does, and there's basically upgrades to your character every single level. You get hit points, you get more attribute points to beef up your abilities every single level, whether it be a primary or a secondary attribute. There's talents, there's specializations. So there's all kinds of ways to customize your character, which is really nice. And that's one thing that really lured me to Fantasy Age, is because I've said in other videos, I'm all about character customization, and pretty much my players are as well. So that's why I really, really liked Fantasy Age, and that's why I stuck with it. As for content, there's not a lot of content out. I've got all of the game books right now, and then I believe there is another book coming out this year that is going to be on layers, I think. Layer encounters or something like that. So I believe that comes out in March, which would be next month in 2020. So I'll pick that up, and I'll pick up the PDF. But I know that there is something coming out because I saw the pre-order on Amazon. And in fact, the Green Ronin site didn't have anything about the pre-order, but Amazon did. So, but yeah, the basic rule book is really nice. We'll take a look at it. It's set up real nice. It's got a glossary in the back. It's got a character sheet that you can print off. Plus, you can go to the Green Ronin website and download the form. They have like a form fillable PDF. Then they also have a print character sheet. Then they have a nice index. I'm really big on indexes. It allows you to find things so quickly in this game. So here's the last chapter is an adventure. It's called Highfall Swale, which is sort of like a little miniature. As you can see, it's like a little campaign setting, and then it has all the locations and stuff, and I like that. And it would actually be nice to see Green Ronin put out more adventures and more fantasy content, because there's really not a whole lot, and they're not quick to get stuff out. But I'm sure that Green Ronin has a really small crew, and they really take their time on getting this stuff out. So, but there are some other PDFs that are digital download only. And then it has a nice magic items section, permanent, temporary magic items. There's a really, and this is the one complaint that I have about the Fantasy Age core book. There's like 12 pages that have, I think 12 total adversaries are called. They're not called monsters or NPCs, but there's, just common stuff like here's a demon soldier, and, here's a dragon, and a giant spider, and a giant, and a goblin, and a manicore, Medusa, orc, zombie, serpent folk. But that's it. I mean, there's like, and it was like this for a long time. And the Fantasy Age core book isn't really, it doesn't explain how to create monsters. And there's been a lot of debate over the years on how to create monsters. But they rectified that issue in another supplement, which we'll take a look at. But, this has Gamemasters. I mean, and one thing that another thing that is on the top of my head, Chris and Jack did a hell of a nice job on explaining how to dungeon master. And a lot of core books in the other major D20 games don't spend a lot of time and effort on dungeon mastering and tricks and the different types of players that you're going to have in your group. And this is one thing that I really liked about the Game Master chapter in the Fantasy Age core book. And in fact, I'll even go back to the Dragon Age core book. It does a hell of a nice job explaining, how to DM, and especially for new DMs and stuff. And I really, really, really like that. And in fact, you could use that those tips and tricks for any single game. And in fact, it's actually mentioned in the Game Master section. You can carry these over to any game that you're playing besides Fantasy Age, which makes a lot of sense. So there's a huge spell chapter with all the different arcanas. A major, this is another thing that I would have liked to seen cut back on. There's let's see, starts on page 53 and ends on page 66 or 65. So there's 13 pages of equipment. And I don't mind equipment, but when you put down a cup, a comb, a wooden cup, and then you waste all this room on, all of these descriptions on a cup and stuff like that, I don't see that. I would have rather seen them take and condense it down to like 3 pages and then put an extra 10 pages of monsters in the core book. That would have been nice. But, that's okay. There's a bestiary out. So here's all of the different specializations that you can be. Everything from assassin hunter to, you can be an elementalist, a duelist, a knight, a guardian, a mage hunter. And there's a lot more in the options book as well. There's a bunch of talents. There's all of your focuses, which are considered skill checks in this game. And then you have the, all of the basic rules. The game is so simple to play. The whole chapter is 11 pages of rules. That's it. 11 pages. And there's a lot of art on these pages. So the game is super easy to play. And that's another reason why I wanted to use this for my World of Rakan setting. And then here's your warrior, how everything's set up. You get all this stuff every level. The rogue, classes, etc. There's all of your backgrounds. Your backgrounds are basically like a background in D&D 5e. Then you have your races. So there's a lot of customization, which here's the player's guide. So I'm thinking, this is just a special player's guide that was printed. So people could check out, I don't see a price on this or anything. So I'm not too sure if this is a playtest copy or maybe a print on demand. But, yeah. So that's the core rulebook for Fantasy Age, and it's a really good game. It's a fun game. Here's the Fantasy Age Dungeon Master screen or Game Mastering screen, and this is the Gamemasters Kit. So the Fantasy Age Gamemasters Kit is a key accessory for your adventure game engine campaign. It features a 3-panel hardback screen with all of the essential game info you need at the table. It also includes 4 quick reference cards that put the stunts and actions at your fingertips and a combat tracker that you can write on with wet or dry erase markers. The Gamemasters Kit is the perfect complement to the Fantasy Age RPG and will help kick off your game with style. I'm not going to open this up because it has all of the other cards, but you can see in the What's on Dave's Shelf Dragon Age video, it's basically the same screen. And what I liked about this, it's such a small price point. I think I paid $13 for this with free shipping on eBay. And its regular price, as you can see, is $19.99. And not only do you get the 3-panel Game Master screen, but you get these cards, these nice laminated cards that are as big as the screen that are tilted sideways. And it has all of the mechanics, like the major actions, the minor actions. It also has all of the stunts, whether they're for combat, if they're for spells, if they're for exploration or roleplay. And I like that. So the players can pass that around, and they'll have those, and they'll have the book to check out. And I like that. And then it has the initiative tracker, which you can use with wet or dry erase. And for a small price point, this is a really nice product. So the next book that came out is the Bestiary, and the Bestiary is so here it is right there. There's everything you get with the Gamemasters Kit. You can see here's the 4 rule cards you get, and then here's the initiative screen. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So there's a total of 140 pages in the Bestiary as well, and this is basically where all of your monsters are. And what I like about the way that the Bestiary is set up, it's not like a lot of D20 books where it's just stat block after stat block after stat block after stat block. They actually put a lot of effort into creating these monsters and options for the monsters, story hooks and everything. So, and then here at the beginning, here's a little bit on, what to how to read the book and stuff like that. And here's something that came out, which is really nice, that wasn't in the core book, and it's beefing up adversaries. So if you want to take these adversaries and make them stronger, if you want to make them an elite, a heroic, or an epic version, here are the rules inside of whatever difficulty you want to make the monster, which was beautiful. And then another book, it expands greatly as well. So now that Fantasy Age has been out for a little while, at least there's some rules and stuff on how to create monsters. So the stat blocks for the monsters in Fantasy Age are set up really nicely. Here's your 9 abilities with your bonuses right here. And then, all of your speed, your health, your defense, your armor rating, any kind of attacks, and then all of the special qualities here. Now, what I like about this is the Afonk. In fact, let's find another monster that everybody would be probably a little bit more familiar with. But, I mean, check it out. Every monster has its own two-page spread, which is really nice about this. Like I said, it's just not stat block after stat block. And, here's the Amarok, which is like a wolf. Here's an Amit. Here's a Bakwani. Basilisk. I love the way that they had the art, for the basilisk. I actually like that. It's not your traditional type of look for a basilisk, which is what I like in games. I like the Pathfinder Goblin. I love the way the Pathfinder Goblins look. So here's all of your lore for the basilisk, and then here's like an excerpt from like an explorer or something. And every one of these monsters has one. And then here's all kinds of venomous relations that you can kind of change how the basilisk stat block is. Here's how to add venoms. Here's how to add deadly curses. Well, actually, I'm sorry, I take that back. There's 3 adventure hooks for each one of these creatures. So for the basilisk, there's a deadly curse, mystery on the abbey, and poisoned harvest. So, I mean, I really like that. And then here's like the Beastkin. Here's Beastkin characteristics table. There's all kinds of adventure hooks, 3 adventure hooks, another excerpt. And every one of these monsters has a nice full 2-page spread. And I like that. And the art is actually really beautiful. For a small company, they've actually invested into a lot of, quality for the art. So there's like Gatorkin, and I'm kind of spreading out now. So there's the Ghoul, there's the Iron Maiden, that looks cool as hell. The Man of War, the Mothman, the ever famous Mothman, the Nymph. I mean, look at that art. That's just beautiful. The Night Terror, the Oozes and Slimes. And then for the Oozes and Slimes, there's actually quite a few pages, but it has all of the different characteristics for each type of ooze, and then a bunch of different examples of the oozes, like a bleaching block. There's the lava ooze, all these different effects like lightning grease, olive slime. So not only is it just one ability, one block, but they give you all kinds of other variations and stuff as well. So there's a Rat King, the Reaper, Shadow Person. And then it just keeps going on. And then towards the end, and then it has a couple pages for Werebeast as well. I'm a sucker for Werebeast. And you can see there's all the other Werebats and Werebears and Wereboars, and how to change and add the features for those particular Werebeast into the stat block. So it gives you details on how to, pretty much take care of everything on modifying monsters. There's the ever famous Yeti. They do exist, everybody. I mean, they're in the monster manual. They're in the bestiary. So, yeah. And then it does go into a lot of the other real common monsters with just stat blocks, which I can see that because everybody knows what a weasel is. Everybody knows what a wolf is, a horse is, and stuff. And then at the end, it has a really nice modifying monsters. And here's all the different types of monsters that you can modify with all these different monster abilities. I mean, it's just beautiful. I love it when games take the time to do this for a game. 13th Age has done it. Starfinder has done an excellent job with that. Pathfinder 2 has. So yeah, here's all the templates and stuff, and a couple of examples on making new monsters and modifying them. So there you go, everybody. That's the Bestiary, which is actually a really nice book, and this is a $32.95 price point. Then we have the Fantasy Age Companion. This was the first major expansion on character customization. So this is a really nice book, and like I said, this is pretty much the same content that's in here. And you can see that it starts with an embarrassment of riches. And it's the same book. I don't know if it's print on demand or what, playtest or whatever, but I got another copy, which is cool. So this has all kinds of new races. Has the Beastfolk, and then there's about a dozen different Beastfolk you can be. I mean, it's just really, really, really nice to see the effort that they put into all of these humanoid Beastfolks. And all the tables, and then here's all of the different special features that they get for each race. I mean, you can even be like a beaver man, or you can be like a dog man, or a bear man. So it's really cool how they put the Beastfolk together. Then here's like a half-blooded, which I kind of see that as a tiefling. And then here's a Drac, which is like a lizard man. Here's an Orion, which is sort of like a construct. And then there's all kinds of new I mean, there are a ton of backgrounds. If you thought there was a bunch of backgrounds in the core book, here's all the new backgrounds, which, that's crazy. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 6. There's 48 new backgrounds. Everything from noble backgrounds to outlander backgrounds, religious, arcane, commoner, criminal, guild, and military. And then it has the descriptions for each one of these. So lots of new options, obviously, in the options books. So here's the new talents. All kinds of new talents that you can take. Well, not as many talents as there are specializations. Now, the specializations are beautiful. These go on top of your classes. But in the core rulebook, you can only be this for a warrior, and you can only be like this for a rogue, or this for a mage. But in the options book, it opens it up to where if you're going to be an arcane dabbler, you can be a warrior or a rogue now. Or the bard can be any class specialization. So it didn't pigeonhole you like the guardian. You had to be a warrior to be a guardian. But in the options book, they're mostly open to multiple classes or every class, which is really nice. So there's the arcane dabbler, the bard, the beastmaster, the champion, the commander, the delver, the diplomat, the gangster, the gladiator, the gunfighter, and yes, in Fantasy Age, there is black powder weaponry. There's the hunter, there's the marked, the martial artist, the necromancer, outrider, paladin, pirate, razor, seer, slayer, soulbound, spy, and totem warrior. Lots and lots. I think there was 30 or 32 new specializations, which is a massive amount of content. Tons more new spells as well. In the first core book, I believe there are a total of 16. There's either 12 or 16 fields of magic. Everything from like fire to, enchantment or whatever. So, and there's 4 spells, which isn't a whole lot. So there's 4 spells per arcana. But in the companion, it adds 4 more spells per arcana. So now every single core magic arcana has 8 spells that you can choose from, which is a lot better than 4. So they've done a great job in the player's options book to expand on magic. And like I said, it basically doubled the spells. And then there's new arcanas. So they added the Beast Arcana, and here's all 8 of their spells. They also added the Cold Arcana, the Death Arcana, the Enchantment Arcana, the Illusion Arcana, the Protection Arcana, and the Psychic Arcana, which is like psionics, basically. So they added, 7 new arcanas with 8 spells. So now there's, I think there's well over 20, a little over 20 of the arcanas now. So for magic and spell users, the player's option book was massive. And then in the options, of course, there's options. So now they've given you an optional cantrips list if you want, cantrips in your game. Or, there's spell stunts in the core book. Now they've given divine spell stunts that are for your healer types of clerics or your healer types of characters, to where they can heal you and then give you like an armor bonus with a stunt. So I like the divine magic option as well. I will definitely probably be using that. Here's all kinds of other rewards like honorifics and titles and stuff, which is cool. All kinds of new artifacts, how to build artifacts and sample artifacts. Oh, and destroying them too. Here's the world at large, which this introduces mass battles, and I really like this. It's super easy, and man, I might incorporate this into my basic Dungeons and Dragons game, because I do like the simplicity of the mass combat tables. And then there's stuff on chases and stuff like that as well. Here you go. Vehicles, chases, building forts and other structures and stuff. Rooftop chases, all that other good stuff. Here's a supporting cast on NPCs into your game. And then with this, it adds a lot of higher level. First off, it talks about the different henchmen that you can have with you, like a bodyguard or a consort or sellsword. And then it tells you what they can and what they can't do, which is what I really like. And then here's all kinds of higher level NPCs and, what their roles would be as one of your followers. Yeah, this is really nice. And then here's like a sample assassin and a cultist and a duelist. And so it adds a little bit more to the bestiary and the few monsters that are in the core book. And these would basically just be, different types of NPCs that you would encounter. There's like an orc warlord. He's actually pretty badass. There's a soldier. There's a tribal warrior. And then here's all kinds of different options for your Fantasy Age game, like, increasing the damage or, more wounds and stuff like that. So, yeah, there you go. Great. Oh, and yeah, one more thing. Something new that's optional is combat stunt packages. So for a higher number of SP points, you can do, say, if you do the rending blow for four stunt points, your blow punches through an opponent's armor, dealing terrible damage. So it will include the pierce armor stunt and the mighty blow stunt at the same time. So that's pretty cool how they kind of added, stunt packages. And they did it not only for combat, but they did it for role-playing and exploration and also magical stunts and also hybrids. So, yeah, really cool. Great supplement. I really liked the Fantasy Age Companion. It was a nice addition, and it added tons and tons of new customization for the classes in Fantasy Age, which is nice. And then last, here's the newest book that just came out, I believe, in 2017. But anyway, this is the Campaign Builder's Guide, and this is really nice on building a campaign. I mean, this does a great job on explaining everything. So here's building the entire campaign frame network. And it goes in, and like I said, Chris Pramis and Jack Norris, they've done such a great job on explaining everything. And not only do they explain it, but they give you examples doing everything. I mean, they even give you examples in the core book all throughout it. Character creation, inflicting damage, doing your attack rolls, how to customize your character, etc. So there are examples all throughout every single one of these books, and I think that's really nice that they've done this. So there's a building and adventure section, and then there's all kinds of different, here's the 3 plot type of adventure, the 5 plot. It talks about the climaxes, the finales. I mean, it does a great job, and like I said, a lot of games don't do that. But I noticed that in the Dragon Age GM section about, talking about creating adventures and the climaxes, and, don't put all your work into the beginning of the adventure and then your finale falls short. And then it's like a huge letdown. So, it talks about that. Building encounters right here. Here's building encounters. Oh, look at that nice bullywug or frogman. Talking about drawing maps. Here's all the different steps, how it goes into the steps with examples. Here's building locations, give it a concept, history, add the inhabitants, the current situation. It goes into so much detail. And I love that. And reading this has actually helped me being a DM. And I think it would really honestly help anyone. And then there's all kinds of different charts and stuff for, what type of businesses are in your town. So it can be anything from basically everything from a souvenir shop to a trader to a jeweler, all the way down to like magic store. And then here's more and more. There's just so many charts on building towns, everything from taverns to inns, business, and then all kinds of business details. That's amazing. I love this stuff. Here's building characters, designing characters, their backgrounds. Are they going to be in the party as an NPC? Are they going to be a criminal? Here's all kinds of like criminal stuff. Are they going to be, masters and minions? Here's all kinds of rules for those. And the art is just beautiful. And then it gives you examples of creating. Here's building rewards, so how to put your loot parcels together, and how to add. Here's all kinds of like honorifics that you can give your players. All kinds of organizations. It tells you how to build organizations in here. There's all kinds of random items for tables, like if you want to just have random tables to give random items. Here's all kinds of extra magical properties that you can add on them to make them magical. That's the kind of stuff that I like. Here's building monsters. Now this is really nice. This is what was lacking. And they actually devoted a whole chapter to building monsters in Fantasy Age, which is really nice. Everything from choosing the threat level, whether it be minor, moderate, major, dire, and legendary, it gives you the level range, assigning your abilities, all of your focuses, your attacks, your special qualities, combat traits. It gives you everything. And then a couple examples, like here's the Ettercoop, which would be the Ettercap. I don't think they can call it an Ettercap. But there's the web-bound puppets, all kinds of variant model monsters. And then here's about building the divine and gods in your game. And faiths and stuff like that. Creating religions. And then here's all the different types of variety for cult activities and festivals. And then here's building subgenres, which not only fantasy, but you can do sword and sorcery, urban fantasy, mazes and monsters, martial arts, or, if you want to have a woo type of martial arts game, fantasy horror, weird fantasy, post-apocalyptic, historical, swashbuckling. It just goes into everything. It's really nice. And then here's building epic campaigns with, higher level characters and stuff. And this is an actual really nice book. Campaign Builder's Guide. And actually, even if you don't play Fantasy Age, this is still a good read. So there you go, everybody. That is what I've got on Fantasy Age, which is actually all of it. I wish it was supported more. It is being supported. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that it's a dead game or it's not being supported. I'm not saying that at all. I just wish that Green Ronin would put, a campaign setting out and stuff, because I'd love to run this. And I'm going to be running it. And like I said, this is going to be the basis for my World of Recon campaign setting. So, all right, everybody, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments section what you think of Fantasy Age. Have you played it? Are you on the fence on trying it? And let me know in the comments section. I would definitely like to see what you guys have to say about it. So if you liked the video, thumbs it up. If you don't like it, thumbs it down. I don't know why you thumbs it down though, but anyways, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and until next time, everybody, happy gaming and stay safe. Bye-bye.